and trees bear strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze.
Public comment. I wasn't here at the prior meetings, but I understand that there was a significant amount of public comment that at times became heated. We recognize that many people are here this evening because of the events surrounding the death of Ms. Love. And we understand that this matter has generated profound emotions within our community. The village board respects the right of every person to express their views and recognizes that many here tonight wish to be heard. At the same time, public comment must be done in an orderly manner to ensure that everybody has an equal opportunity to be heard. We ask that all speakers observe the previously established rules for public comment, which include a 5-minute limit per person. Expressions of support or disagreement are understandable, but shouting, interruptions, or other conduct that disrupts the meeting will not be tolerated. We appreciate everybody's cooperation in maintaining an atmosphere that is respectful, safe, and orderly. Thank you.
Say her name!
Mary Alice.
Say her name!
Mary Alice.
Say her name!
Mary Alice Love.
Okay, then.
So in moments like these, people have questions, concerns, and emotion that deserve to be heard, and they deserve to be respected. So we recognize that anger, frustration, and grief that this incident has caused, and we want to be transparent as possible within the limits that the law allows us. There are two things we're not able to discuss in a public forum: potential litigation and employment matters. What we can share is this: by law, the shooting is being independently investigated by an outside agency, not the Village of Mundelein. The village has cooperated fully with that investigation, but does not determine its outcome or control its timeline. Additionally, no decisions have been made, or no decisions will be made until the investigation is complete. So to the extent that we're able, we can also share that the village, its insurance representative, and litigation counsel recently met with the Love family to review the requested body camera footage and answer their questions. Out of respect for the legal process and the parties involved, the Village of Mundelein will not litigate this in the media or in the public forum. That said, I want you to know that we do hear you, we see you, and we're listening.
All right, now I need a motion to approve the Board of Trustees' regular meeting minutes from July 13th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion by Schwenk.
Second.
Second by Udaste. Those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. There are no presentation and awards tonight, and so that puts us up to public commentary. And one additional statement on public commentary is the opportunity for the public to speak and the board to listen. The board does not speak during or after public commentary. It is the public's opportunity to speak. So anybody that wants to speak in public commentary, please go up and line up. We're doing it differently, Joe. Line up over there.
Okay.
Just get in line instead of the normal way that we were doing it. Go ahead.
My name is Vuyani. I'm a longtime Mundelein resident. I am here once again
Yes.
because of your inaction. I heard your statement. Sounded nice. We're not here to be heard and seen. We're here for action from you. It's not enough for you to see us. Not enough for you to hear us. We expect action. As you and I sit here in this nice, well-appointed room, Mary Alice Love is laying in her coffin 6 feet underground. Your officer, excuse me, sir, your officer is at home, chilling out, on paid leave. Think about that. There's ample evidence in the video for you to take action. There's ample video. It's clear as day. In addition, we submitted a 9-point letter with our demands that has not been fulfilled in any way. You got it, and each one of you got that letter. We have not heard anything from you. You think that we think that you're limited by policy or whatever. The fact of the matter is, this is by choice. You create the policy. You create the policy. And as I promised you when I first started attending these meetings, I will be here until you do right. And up until now, you have not done right. There is a woman that's laying in her casket today that should not be there. She should be here with us. This is not just something where we are just complaining. This is something that is affecting us on a day-to-day, in our daily lives. These people aren't here because they have nothing to do. That's not why they're here. And the other thing too is, you speak of decorum. Where was your officer Chris Brigano's decorum on May 11th? Where was that? You want us to behave. Meanwhile, your officer did not behave on May 11th. How reasonable is that to you? It's not to me. It's not. I'm embarrassed to be a citizen of Mundelein. I'm embarrassed. Your leadership has failed. It continues to fail. This happened on May 11th, and we have seen no action from you. Even the body cam video that you referred to in your statement, the recent chief who retired, coincidentally, in the middle of all of this, issued a video cam narrated by him that was highly edited. It did not address everything that happened on that day. What it felt like was a great insult. The fact of the matter is there were a lot of statements that were erroneous that were issued. We wanted that video to be released unedited so that the public and the community knows what happened. Good, bad, or ugly. Good, bad, or ugly. But no, you had to release an edited video, which made you look like crooked people. It's offensive. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
I don't know. Good evening. My name is Maurice Moore. I am a retiree from the Postal Service, with which I had the privilege of working with Jeffry Love, the father. Great man. But the brother said with the foundation, I'm going to build the building. We're going to go, like I said, the heart. We're all human. Human means H-U-E, from the dust to the dirt to when God molded man, the creator. He molded no man superior. He molded no man inferior. He molded us all to the talents that he gave us to put the good use for the goodness of man, not the subjugation of man. Just what we saw on May 11th was prejudgment. I don't want to get racial, but prejudgment has been on us all ever since we got here. We're supposed to be the crooks, the low lives, or whatever. But I'm here to tell you, You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach a new puppy something. Go home and teach your children that everybody is born equal. Nobody's born with a favor. So maybe when they have to walk through this world, which 1 out of 6 people know each other, they'll have a better way. So we have to teach the children that people are equal. Now, on this incident right here, Mary Alice was sitting down, waiting on the professional people to come and give her some help on a bad day. We all have had bad days. Coming from Waukegan, but oh no, the people who serve and protect come in like they generally do, taking over, being boisterous, accelerating the situation. Now, we have a mother here who saw her daughter shot 4 times. Now, when little Johnny sees a worm come in the room, you're sending the people to talk to him, and oh, he might have some down the line. This mother had to see her daughter shot 4 times and whisked it away by herself. Now, all you mothers in the room, can you imagine seeing your child get shot 4 times and you're drugged? Nobody came. And I heard of a woman police officer. Where's her motherhood at, right? Then, when they go to the hospital, they're froze out. Why would they be froze out to not find out what's wrong with their daughter? See, this wasn't just one incident. This was a series of incidents here. So let's make it plain. Because I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm going to get stuff right so it don't happen again. I have 27 grandchildren, 2 more on the way, and I don't want this to happen to them at all. Are you following me? I see old plain faces and stuff. And on top of that, you went back and ransacked the house. Oh my God, thank God for cameras, but what, we got the plants going on here? Trying to justify what you did? This must stop. This is not no first, this happens all the time. It must stop. We must teach the children to get off of this old dumb racial crap. We must get back to we are all human and treat each other like, I wouldn't wish that on a purple person, a mother, and then to be treated like that. And in closing, all this back to blue, all back to blue. Listen, when I worked at a job, 5% of the people were no good. In any job, 5% of the people are no good. If you were disciplined the no good ones, it would take the heat off the good ones, so they wouldn't be blamed. Stop backing the blue and black back justice.
No peace. No peace. Mary Alice Love.
Good evening. My name is Rachelle Richardson. Mary Alice Love was my cousin who was killed at the hands of the Mundelein police on May 11th, 2026. But today, I would like to talk to you a little bit about your town's namesake. In case you didn't know, the town of Mundelein, Illinois was named after a cardinal, Cardinal George W. Mundelein, whose elevation to cardinal more than 100 years ago in 1924 made Chicago the first archdiocese west of the Appalachian Mountain Range. Cardinal Mundelein is remembered as a leader who believed that every person possesses inherent dignity. He's remembered as a leader that throughout his ministry challenged injustice and courageously spoke out against oppression, even when it was unpopular to do so. He believed that every human life is sacred, regardless of socioeconomic status or race. Cardinal Mundelein demonstrated a remarkable moral courage during his paper hanger speech in 1937, in which he publicly condemned Adolf Hitler and other Nazi leaders during a time when many remained silent about the growing threat of Nazi Germany, a speech that almost cost Cardinal Mundelein the opportunity to construct the University of St. Mary of the Lake, which is just a couple miles up the road from here, after Adolf Hitler directly tried to block the funds to build it. With this type of strong moral courage that Cardinal Mundelein possessed, it makes me wonder what he would think of you all and your lack of compassion and willingness to speak out on the injustice Mary Alice Love has suffered. Would you be content with the people that are leading the town stamped with his name? My guess is probably not. My guess is that he would probably be disgusted and ashamed that this town is a part of his legacy. Cardinal Mundelein believed that every single person is made in the perfect image of God, and that belief doesn't disappear when someone is having mental health issues. If anything, I believe he would say that our obligation to protect that person's dignity becomes even bigger. An obligation that the Mundelein police failed to uphold on May 11, 2026. The same Mundelein police that used its power to diminish Mary Alice's humanity and take her life, instead of protecting her when she was vulnerable. You, Mundelein police, and now new chief of police, Thomas Pointer, have Mary Alice's blood on your hands, and you, Mayor Meier, bear the responsibility to answer for Mary Alice's death and make it right. Chris Bergano needs to be in prison where a murderer like him belongs. Chief Pointer, Mayor Meier, make it right.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Nickow, and I'm back for my third public statement about Mary Alice Love and the 77 days that the Love family in this community have waited for answers and actions. In prior statements, I've addressed the events of May 11th, use of force policy, Illinois law, and the silence of our elected representatives. But tonight, I want to provide a contrast to all those wrongs by talking about what right looks like, because it's happening in Lake County. On July 23rd, the Lake and McHenry County Scanner published an article with the headline, "Deputies Safely De-Escalate Situation Involving Armed Man in Mental Health Crisis Inside Antioch Home Where Children Were." According to this article, the successful de-escalation began with the 911 telecommunicators giving the caller instructions to safely exit the home with the children. When the police arrived, they established a perimeter before entering the home and spoke to the man using crisis intervention team techniques. After about 10 minutes, the man exited the home, unarmed, and was able to be evaluated and transported to treatment. The sheriff also shared that this was the second incident in just over a month where they successfully de-escalated a mental health crisis with an armed person. As I read about this, I was struck by many emotions, but also some questions. First, in the 911 calls from May 11th, the only instructions I heard were to stay on the line. Why didn't de-escalation start with that call the way it did in the Antioch case?
Yes.
Why wasn't Jeffry Love instructed to exit the house so police could speak with her safely there before trying to engage with Mary Alice? Second, the Mundelein Police Department's own critical incident briefing confirms that Officer Bergano had completed the crisis intervention team training before May 11th. So why did that training work with the Lake County Sheriff's deputies and fail when applied or not applied, as the facts suggest, by a trained Mundelein officer? What is the department doing to find out? Finally, Antioch is over 76% white non-Hispanic, unlike Mundelein, which is less than 50%, according to census.gov. While I do not know the race of the persons involved in the Sheriff's Department incidents, I wonder if the Lake County Major Crime Task Force is asking about the role of race in this crisis, how this crisis was handled. I wonder if you are. I'd ask this board to read the article and to reach out to the Sheriff's Office to understand what made the difference. Ask what training protocols must be updated so that we are never here again.
Yes.
I come back to this meeting each time with the same expectations and leave with the same disappointment in our leadership and the same awe for all the speakers and supporters who come here to speak truth to power. I will continue to examine the failures of this system to protect and serve, and I will continue to demand justice for Mary Alice Love, her family, and the Village of Mundelein. Will you?
Right.
Go peace! Go peace! Go peace!
Good evening.
Good evening.
My subject is going to be a little different. I was reading the Daily Herald, being retired. I pick it up every morning from practice for 50 years. And there was an article in there about the village board had just approved paying a consulting firm $40,000 to study the Wirtz traffic problem or future problem. So I'm going to give you a traffic study free of charge. I'm an 89-year-old senior citizen, so I have a lot of experience. I think the big thing you've got to do is widen Route 60 from Peterson Road into the village and widen it as far as you can. If you can take it to Gurney, I'd appreciate that. Traffic is going to be a bigger problem, just not around that area. It's going to be the feeder road that's going to go forward towards the interstate. So my suggestion is free of charge. You can do that. Put Route 60 on your board, get the approval from the state, put 4 lanes in there, turn lanes, and figure out where the exit and entrances are going to be with the words in there. Since I'm up here and I don't know any of you people, I don't know much about the issue, but I'm not going to support anybody. I just want to give a comment about the village. I've lived around here for 26 years in the area. About 16 years ago, I went to the police academy here in Mundelein, Illinois. I never had appreciation for law enforcement. You know, growing up, you took it for granted. The only time you had an opinion about law enforcement is when you got a traffic ticket and you were always right. When I went to the academy, which was very extensive, I gained a real appreciation for all law enforcement. It is not an easy job. It's on the second decision making. And I suggest to any of you in here, if you live in Mundelein, go to the academy and you'll gain an appreciation what they have to go through. Thank you.
No, we can
Don't yell at me.
No.
Let them shoot your children and then you go to the
Right.
academy. Bless your 89 years.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you once again for allowing me to speak tonight. I'd actually like to begin my remarks tonight by addressing those of you who are here tonight and who were here 2 weeks ago discussing 2 other important issues, the data centers and flock cameras. First and foremost, thank you to many of you for your condolences to the Love family. Thank you also for your patience in waiting to speak. And know that if I were a Mundelein resident, I would also be speaking out against both of those issues. I'll actually take some time to do that right now. Mayor Meier, read the tea leaves. Much more prominent municipalities than Mundelein have already taken steps to enact data center moratoriums. Hoffman Estates, Joliet, Naperville, Aurora, just to name a few. And if those big boy suburbs, the type of town where you can actually justify paying $300,000 a year to a village manager, are able to do the right thing, why can't Mundelein? Why not lead by example for the smaller municipalities of Lake County? If you think that showing support or implicit support in the form of silence for the Grays Lake T5 data campus will make your town appear more favorable to data center development, I don't think you have to worry about that anymore. This town's bungling of Mary Alice's Love murder has placed the scarlet letter upon it. No developer or tech company will want to hitch their wagon to this administration. Salvage what's left of your reputation and do the easy right thing. You spoke about the court. You guys will not litigate this matter in the court of public opinion, but the citizens of this town will litigate each and every one of you in that court. They dislike police misconduct, but they've shown time and time again to really dislike data centers in their towns, and the mayors who gave away the store to allow them to be built. 2 weeks ago, I witnessed a 19-year-old come here and speak out about data centers. He wasn't old enough to vote in the last election, but I think I know what issues will be important to him. And I know that he'll remember your cowardice at the polls if you sit on your hands. Flock cameras are another hot button issue affecting mayoral races across the country. I think someone last meeting mentioned 2 suburbs, Evanston and Oak Park, when discussing terminating contracts. Again, these are 2 very prestigious, well-respected locales. Why wouldn't you want to follow the lead of your more successful peers? All flock camera will lead to is more trouble for your police department. If your officers can't even prevent one another or themselves from executing their own constituents, then why should anyone in this room expect them to refrain from the less egregious offenses such as stalking, harassment, retaliation? Now, back to why the remaining 95% of us are here. I sure hope you guys finally remember the days of 15-minute Tuesday night board meetings, because those are a thing of the past. Last meeting, we were finally able to break down your emotionless wall. No, it wasn't when Mary Alice's mother took you to task for your tone-deaf opening statement, or when Mary Alice's father cried at the podium. No, it was when Mr. Peterson talked about tying ribbons to trees. That was the straw that broke Erich Gunther's back. He didn't find himself moved by the testimony of friends and family, but he couldn't stand idly by while Ralph discussed the possibility of tying a ribbon to a tree without a permit. You know, I noticed the tattoo on your right forearm before the last meeting, American flag, Latin lettering. To be honest, it kind of gives off a Proud Boys, Oath Keepers vibe, but I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt for now. Maybe you just love America. You know, land of the free, home of the brave. Right. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all people are created equal. That America? Let me give you some free advice. If you're going to tattoo the flag of a country on your body, make sure you actually live up to the values that that flag represents. Because I'm pretty sure that if you were around in 1776, you would be on the side of the British. After all, the Redcoats were technically just following the protocol. You probably would have given Washington a ticket for failure to get a permit before crossing the Delaware. To the two other people who spoke up on the board, Schwenk and I think someone over here, thank you for your remarks. One of you said you didn't want to speak because you wanted to yield your time to the public, but I can assure you that everyone in this room would happily cede some of our 5 minutes so we can hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
To the rest of the board members who remain silent, it reminds me of another time in history where people were just following orders. I'm a Christian. We heard from a lot of Christians here. I don't know, maybe we have some Jewish people up there. Nothing wrong with that. We all pray to the same God. About 80, 90 years ago, more than 6 million Jews were exterminated by Nazi Germany. The defense they gave that they were just following orders. History has not remembered them kindly, even though they were technically following the law of the land. Mary Alice's murder is this town's Nuremberg trial. I implore you once again to please be on the right side of history. Just following orders has never been an acceptable explanation, and it's not going to start being one here.
No.
New Chief, Thomas Pointer, also not a Mundelein resident, by the way. This is your show now. However, you weren't promoted off the street. You were clearing $237,000 a year as the deputy. The second in command probably sets the tone as well. What protocols did you have in place that allowed May 11th to happen? What have you done to prevent another May 11th to happen? We have people like Anderson making $200,000, Kroll, Bush making $150,000. They attend these meetings. They see the town's opinions. Are they implementing new protocols? Are they actually following the old ones? The people want and deserve answers. The thin blue line will not protect this town forever. Cut your losses. Do the right thing. Save all yourselves a lot of time, money, effort, stress. Save your political careers. Most importantly, save your soul when you look in the mirror. Thank you. And God bless.
Mary Alice Love. Mary Alice Love.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Jayla Jackson. I don't think you all have ever had to face oppression, injustice, but in the Black culture, we've always had to experience it through each generation. So maybe that's why you all can sit here and after 3 months still be under an investigation with no answers.
Right.
Crazy. At our last village meeting, one committee member reminded us that the board is not supposed to respond to speakers during public comment. But that time is reserved for the public, I understand that, but nothing stops you from releasing public statements, nothing stops you from updating the community, nothing stops you from reaching out to family, nothing stops you from showing compassion. Yet over 3 months you've chosen silence. But after more than 27 days, 70 days, the explanation is no longer enough. Mary Alice Love was not just another case. She was my family, she was my best friend. She was someone I expected to go old with. I still wake up trying to convince myself this isn't real. I still think about calling her. I still struggle to picture my life without her. Grief doesn't end because 3 months have passed. It follows you everywhere. And while we are trying to survive that grief, we continue to feel unheard by you all. Mayor Meier, if this administration continues to ignore our family concerns, continues to refuse meaningful engagement, and continues to show little compassion, then the people of this village have every right to hold their elected officials accountable. That is what democracy is. Public office is a position of public trust, and if that trust is broken, voters have every right to choose a new leadership.
All right.
This is bigger than one family. This is about whether every resident of Mundelein can believe their leaders will stand beside them during the worst days of their life. You cannot build a beautiful image of Mundelein while ignoring the pain within it, the pain that was caused from you all. You cannot claim to protect every citizen while family like mine feel abandoned. Justice does not come from silence. justice comes from accountability. Mayor Robin Meier, every meeting begins with condolences, but condolences without action begin to lose their meaning. A condolence is not accountability. A condolence is not transparency. A condolence is not justice. If you truly grieve with our family, then show us. You all could have all worn your ribbons tonight. You all could have been helping us put our ribbons on the trees. Even if a case is still under investigation, if you guys truly care, those are steps that you can do if you didn't know. Show this community, speak, lead. And to everyone tonight, I want to say this: do not let anyone convince you that your voice doesn't matter. Do not let anyone make you believe that speaking up is pointless. Democracy only works when ordinary people refuse to stay silent in the face of injustice. We, the people, have the power to demand better. We have the power to vote. We have the power to organize. We have the power to hold every elected official accountable for how they serve this community. If those in power refuse to lead with compassion, then it becomes our responsibility to elect leaders who will. Fred Hampton once said, "You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution." Those words remind us that while a person's life can be taken, the movement they inspire cannot. The desire for justice does not disappear because people wish it would. It lives on through every family that refuses to give up, every neighbor who speaks out, and every community member who demands accountability for Mary Alice Love. Mary Alice Love's voice may have been taken from her, but ours have not. We will continue to speak in her name. We will continue to live her name. We will continue demanding answers. We will continue, no matter how long the fight takes us. We will not surrender our dignity, our voices, or our hope. Justice for Mary Alice Love.
Mary Alice Love! Say our name!
Mary Alice Love!
Say our name!
Mary Alice Love!
One second.
Hi, my name is Amani. We are here because a life was taken, and it should not have been. My friend Aunt was a real person. She was kind, loving, and strong. She mattered to her family and everyone who knew her. She is more than what happened to her, and she deserves to be remembered for the good she brought in this world. But we can't also ignore the truth. What happened to her was wrong. It hurt a whole family, and it hurt a whole community. This message is for the mayor and the people in charge. You are supposed to protect people. You are supposed to listen when something is wrong. Right now, it feels like nothing is being done, and that is not okay. Families are hurting. My friend is hurting. She is trying to go to school, work, while dealing with this pain, and it is too much for one person. We need to care. We need to pay attention. We need to do something. Even kids, children, can feel this pain. And they're kids. Can you believe that? My friend Aunt mattered. Her life mattered. Mary Alice Love, she mattered. That's why all these people showed up here today. I hope that's why you showed up here today. Please don't stay quiet. Please don't just sit here and think that what we're saying is going over your head. You may have spoken out, but like they're all saying, you're still not showing enough. You're not doing enough. We're not hearing enough. Do more. Protect and serve. I don't see protecting, nor do I see serving. Nope. And that's not what's happening today. 3 months, and all you can do is sit here and tell us what's going to happen or might not happen. That's not doing anything. That's talking, and that's putting you in charge. Well, right now, we're in charge. We're taking over. We're telling you guys what we should see, and that's sad. Because we're trusting you to do what's right. And you're not doing that. You're showing us that the trust we have in you is lacking little by little by little at every single meeting we have. These meetings may continue, and they will continue until you do something. And when you're done, you still will remember Mary Alice Love. Because that is the impact that her life made, her family made. I look at all of you today, every last one of you, and I hope you hear what they are saying. I pray that you hear what they are saying, what we are saying. Thank you.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Say her name!
Mary Alice Love.
My name is Artie Murray, and I had the privilege of being the godmother of Mary Alice Love. I am here again to speak on civil rights and justice for my goddaughter, Mary Alice Love. Earlier this month, the United States of America celebrated 250 years. Yet today, I stand here 11 weeks to the day, full of grief, pain, unable to feel the words of that Declaration of Independence that grants fundamental human rights that are inherent to every individual endowed by a creator and cannot be surrendered, sold, or transferred to a government. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness denied to my goddaughter, Mary Alice Love. I want everyone under the sound of my voice to be clear that the life of Mary Alice Love was unjustly taken. I need to say that again. It was unjustly taken. She no longer has the liberty to pursue happiness after 4 pieces of metal from a gun unjustly ended her life. I stand here also with a note, and each and every one of you are going to receive this. Not only just this note that I'm going to read, 2 notes. This first one is from the Evanston North Shore National Association, NAACP, for the advancement of colored people, is clearly concerned about the shooting of Mary Alice Love on May 11, 2006. Reports indicate that Ms. Love's mother sought assistance through a non-emergency call to help her daughter's mental health professionals, with hope that her mental health professionals would come to the home to offer assistance. Mundelein police officers arrived demanding entry into the home. What resulted next is simply inconceivable. In no time, Mary Alice's mother was forcibly removed from serving as a mediator between her daughter and the police officers. Mary was shot 4 times and died. Officers alleged Mary approached them with 2 knives and was a threat to their safety.
Lies.
The injustices against this family include dereliction of duty, no tactical method of de-escalation, lack of protocol and common sense. These actions are not only deeply disturbing, but unacceptable. This is from the NAACP. All y'all gonna get a copy. Not only from the North Shore, but you all gonna get one from Sandra LeConte over this area as well. NAACP is on this. Why wouldn't the police department send social workers or mental health professionals to assess the situation along with officers? Why would the officers use guns rather than tasers? Why would the officers ignore the efforts of the mother to serve as a mediator when the situation escalated? Why has body camera footage of the incident not completely been made available to everyone, lawyers, and the families of Mary Alice Love? Last paragraph, y'all gonna get a copy. Once more, Blacks in the United States have another case that shows our vulnerability to horrible use of force and violence by police officers. The Evanston North Shore NAACP condemns the actions of the Mundelein police officers, the lack of full transparency by the Mundelein Police Department and this entire board that's sitting here, and Chief Jason Seeley, the mayor, and the lack of response by Robin Meier and members of the Board of Trustees, Erin, Arnold, Tony, Daniel, Cara, Jenny, Ross, Tim. I'm not even gonna read your second name. We condemn the shooting of Mary Alice Love by the Mundelein police officers and support the family's demand for justice. Signed by the Reverend Dr. Michael C.R. Neighbors, President of the Evanston North Shore NAACP. That is all.
Mary Alice Love. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
My name is Clyde McLemore, and I'm out here in the midst of fighting against injustice all over this country. I have traveled and worked with families such as Justice Howe, who was killed in Zion, Illinois in 2014, Sandra Bland, who was killed in Walker County, Texas in 2015, Daryl Hanna, who was killed in North Chicago in 2012, Freddie Gray, who was killed in 2015 in Baltimore, Maryland, Laquan McDonald, who was killed in Chicago, Illinois, October 20th, 2014, Mike Brown, killed in Ferguson, Missouri, August 9th, 2014, Tamara Rice, 12 years old, killed in Cleveland, Ohio, November 24th, 2014, Dache King, shot in the back in Racine, Wisconsin, May 20th, 2022, Erich Gardner in New York, July 17, 2017, John Crawford III, August 5th, 2014, Beaver Creek, Ohio, Cordell Handy, killed March 16, 2017 in St. Paul, Minnesota. Sonia Macy of Springfield was killed on July 6, 2024. George Floyd murdered May 25th, 2020 in Minnesota. The shooting of Jacob Blake, August 23rd, 2022 in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Marcellus Sinet, shot age 19, shot riding in a car as a passenger, October 20th, 2020. Erich in Waukegan. Eric Laurie, 37, killed in January 29th of 2020 in Joliet, Illinois. All these people were shot and strangled and killed by law enforcement. Each individual I have named, I have worked with their families and police chiefs in their city. Say our name!
Mary Alice Love.
Say our name!
Mary Alice Love.
Say our name!
Mary Alice Love.
Don't you ever tell the people what they can and cannot do.
Thank you.
Because I didn't like that remark you made. So I'm going to holler, because that's the way I grieve my sister. That was dirty. I'm not here to make any of you feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. The mayor or the police chief, they can't fire that police officer who shot Miss Love. However, Mayor, you can recommend to the union and the state's attorney's office that this police officer should be removed and prosecuted.
Right on.
As a mayor, your recommendation will show this community that you stand for justice in your community. Once you publicly do this, we can take this to the county board and get in Eric Reinhardt's ass. I heard you tell his family, I was here last last meeting. You gave condolences to this family. Well, now it's your turn. Make a recommendation. Do it publicly. Do it publicly. See, I know how it go. You can sit there and hide behind the investigation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just went through this shit with Marcellus Annette. I waited 2 years to get this police arrested and prosecuted. We're not gonna wait no 2 years. You can do that. Now, waiting on investigation, like I said, can run up to 2 years before it carry out. But if you can't make this recommendation, then I suggest we take this to your house. That's right, we'll protest in front of your house.
Right on, why not?
The Love family is feeling uncomfortable. And you think we gonna let you go home and be comfortable?
Come to think about it.
Like I said, we're not here to make you feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Robin, don't think we ain't got your address. J.B. Prister thought the same thing when we came to his house when we wanted the police charged for killing Laquan McDonald. You better ask somebody about me. A couple of your employees know who I am. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Jarrett, and I live in Mundelein. In Mundelein, we're proud of the diversity of our village, but diversity alone does not make us a community. Understanding, listening, and empathy do. At the last meeting, Black residents told this board repeatedly that they are afraid to call the police department in emergency. Many of us were raised believing we could call the police and help would come, but that trust has never been shared equally in our country. One of the earliest forms of organized policing in this country was the slave patrol, created to capture people escaping slavery. In 1851, Black residents in Boston were warned to avoid police officers enforcing the Fugitive Slave Act. This history carried forward through the Black Codes, Jim Crow, segregation, and into the stories families still tell their children. It does not disappear. Because of that history, many Black Americans hear the word police and think something very different than I was raised to think. They remember generations when the law was not applied equally and protection was not offered equally. Many Black parents still teach their children on how to simply survive a traffic stop. We should not dismiss this fear because we've never felt it.
Right on.
It is real, it has a history, and we have a responsibility to understand it. Mary Alice Love's family called for help during a mental health crisis. She was killed during the Mundelein police response. A month earlier, Lake County deputies faced a man with 2 knives. They used a taser and he survived. I understand these were different agencies and different circumstances, but that difference still deserves an explanation. I'm not claiming the situations were identical or pretending that I know every decision those officers faced in those moments. But when one family calls for help and loses somebody they love, while another dangerous encounter ends without a death, residents are entitled to know what made the difference. And that leads to a larger question of trust. To the police department, how do you plan to rebuild the trust of the residents who told this board that they're afraid to call your department? And to the board, what are you doing to hold them accountable for rebuilding that? Because when residents believe calling for help might make a crisis worse, they stop calling. They will wait. They'll handle dangerous situations alone, or ask untrained relatives or neighbors to intervene. And that puts residents, families, and police officers at a greater risk. Yeah. None of you created this history, but you are responsible for what happens next. A police department cannot fully serve people who are afraid to call it, and that's a public safety problem. But from this side of the podium, it often looks like all of you are treating it as a public relations problem. Yeah. Yeah. At the last meeting, this room was filled with grief while board members shuffled papers and watched the clock. Trustee Schwenk broke that silence and said he was listening. sometimes holding back tears or biting his lip because this family's pain hurt. He said Mary Alice Love matters and that Black lives matter. I believe he meant it. I do not doubt he felt something, but this family did not come here to only know that board members privately felt their pain. They came here hoping somebody with authority would speak, to ask questions, and to act. And that's exactly why I'm asking more of him. After 3 meetings, all you had to offer was an explanation of your silence. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "If peace means keeping my mouth shut in the midst of injustice and evil, I don't want it." Trustee Schwenk, you're in a position to challenge this board and challenge this police department and ask the hard questions these families deserve. Nobody on this side of the podium is in that position, and I hope you do. I also want to thank the trustees who wore the pins for this family. It means more to them than we probably realize.
Yes.
There are no laws preventing compassion. There are no laws preventing you from looking this family in the eye, saying her name, and acknowledging what they've lost. Imagine that she was someone that you love. Ask yourselves what you would hope to hear from this board if you were sitting out here. Black residents have told you they're afraid. Mary Alice Love's family has shown you their grief. And the response to both should be understanding, compassion, and empathy. Thank you.
Mary Alice Love! Mary Alice Love! Mary Alice Love!
Hi, my name is Mustafa Muhammad. I am a Chicago resident. Today I've come to talk about Mary Alice Love. I have few conversations with her, but I've heard many stories of the amazing person she is. When I got the call from Jayla telling me about her passing, I was very hurt hearing about the tragic news that could have been prevented. This cop is the reflection of your department. This man does not deserve to be roaming free.
Absolutely.
Mary Alice Love deserves justice, and I will continue to come to every meeting, every protest, until you meet this family demands and justice is served. I hope that you do the right thing, and we will never forget May 11th.
Right.
No peace.
No peace. No justice. No peace.
My name is Eileen Diamond, and I have the honor and privilege to be Jeffry Love's friend for over 4 decades. We started out as co-workers and quickly became longtime forever friends. Together we share love, support, and commitment to each other. That is what brings me here tonight to speak to you. I was devastated when I heard the news of the tragic death of Mary Alice Love from Jeffrey's sister. I cried out, "No, no, no, this can't be happening. How could this happen?" A call for help for mental crisis situation turned to aggressive force from the moment the Mundelein police arrived at the Love residence. A mother, Jeffry Love, pushed aside by the police officer, Sergeant Brigado, not once but twice, causing her to fall to the ground, and her daughter Mary Alice, who was not given any warning, shot 4 times and killed. I'd like to sing a song, just a few lyrics by the artist Up With the People. What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? I said it's black, brown, yellow, it's red and it's white. Everyone is the same in the good Lord's sight. All lives matter. Mary Alice Love's life mattered. All of you have the opportunity to do what's right. Use your voices and be heard. Listen to the calls and cries of your community for accountability, transparency. Release full video of the 5/11/26 fatal tragedy of Mary Alice Love. Termination of Officer Sergeant Brigado. At the very least, he should be jailed. Mandatory and continued education for mental health crisis training for all Mundelein police officers, fire and emergency response teams, and any village employee dealing with the public. Nothing can bring. We come together with the Love family, friends, acquaintance, community, and as a nation, nothing can bring back Mary Alice. We are not asking for justice, but demanding justice, justice for Mary Alice Love.
Yes.
As a result of bullets going over Jeffry Love's head, she now suffers from a heart condition and went through a heart procedure today. We are all praying for her so we do not have a second loss in this family from this horrific event. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing, Ms. Jones? How you doing, Ms. Sister? Good to see you. My name is Johnny Love. I'm the father of Mary Alice Love, husband Jeffry Love, and this is my family. Mary Alice Love was born on December 25th, 1988, to Johnny and Jeffry Love. I sat in the living room as my wife gave birth to her. She was wanted, needed, and loved by us and others. Mary Alice was God sent and precious. 50 cents, $1, $100, more. What value can we place on a life monetarily? What value is a life looked upon as someone who is different, or looked at as someone who is less than, or an other in some form or fashion? $100, $1, 50 cents, or even less. How can you walk into someone's home asking you for help for their child that they cherish and offhandedly shoot and kill that person? What value was placed on that life? Someone not like us or not like you in some form or fashion. I got a call at work on May 11, 2026 to come home right now. I stopped work and went home immediately. When I got there was yellow tape, squad cars everywhere, people on both sides of the yellow tape, members of my family on the outside of that yellow tape. I was told by my daughter, Mary Alice, had been shot by the police, and my wife was inside the house with the police. I asked the officer if I could be with my wife and Mary Alice. The officer told me I had to stay outside the yellow tape. I am possibly unharmed today because I didn't want my other children to see me being restrained or even killed on that night. I don't want the other members of the police who responded to my home and to the Condell Hospital that night to get a free pass.
Right on.
After the shooting and killing of my daughter on May 11th, later that night, the treatment of myself, my family, my eldest daughter, son, grandson, granddaughter, and close family friends by the Mundelein police and officers of the surrounding community borders on sadistic. What they did was like, it was just cruel. Dirty.
Not human.
To make us stand out in the cold for whatever reason. And to come out 45 minutes later and say you can go in, but they gave us badges. We had to have the badge to walk around the hospital. Every time we walk outside the room, we had to be escorted by our policemen. Every time we come back to the room, we had to go to the washroom. Come back to the room, we had to show a policeman our badge in order to go back into the holding area they had. Why?
that protocol? You do that to everybody?
What kind of value do you place on somebody other than yourselves? Mary Alice's life had value. Mary Alice was greatly loved. Mary Alice's love mattered. Men and women in blue, love matters.
Mary Alice Love! Say our name!
Mary Alice Love!
Say our name!
Mary Alice Love!
Say our name! Mary Alice Love!
Good evening. Jeffry Love, as I met her, Jeffrey Billington, has been my friend for the past 65 years. When you've known someone that long, you just don't know what it means to have a relationship like that. But today, I speak to the women. Today I want to tell you about the woman the public does not know. The woman who set some records straight, hopefully last week. Jeffrey's one of the most compassionate people that I've ever known. She's the kind of person who puts everyone else in front of her. Most mothers know that. There's just something in us. She loves deeply, she forgives easily, and has always opened her home and her heart to anyone. She's a woman of faith, integrity, and quiet strength, which was displayed last week. But the mother I know, if there's one thing that I know about Jeffry, my friend of 60 plus years from 8th grade, is that her children have always been the center of her world. She celebrated their victories, she worried through their struggles, and she never, ever stopped showing up for them. She loved Mary Alice unconditionally. Mothers know that. The mothers who sit here this evening know that we love our children regardless. Not just on the easy days, but especially on difficult days like May 11th of this year. Why her actions really matter? When Mary Alice was experiencing a mental health crisis, Jeffry did what so many public awareness campaigns have told us to do. She asked for help. She wasn't looking for conflict. She wasn't asking for force. She was trying to protect her daughter, as mothers do. She believed and she hoped that help was coming. But the woman I see today, my friend from 8th grade, the woman that you see standing before you, is not the same woman that I've known for years. I have watched my sister friend carry a pain that no mother should ever have to carry. I've watched her cry until she had no tears left. I've watched her ask the same heartbreaking question over and over. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Mothers, we ask questions like that. No matter how strong someone is, losing a child will change your life forever. Mothers feel that way. But what has been most painful, what has hurt almost as much as the loss itself, has been watching this family fight for answers while they were still trying to breathe and find help for themselves. The trauma will live on. We're always told, don't ask God why, how do I get through this? We're all still trying to figure it out. But instead of being able to focus on the healing they've had to focus on finding the truth, trying to figure out what was the difference between May 11th and a month earlier, where that person is still walking around. But that's something that will be resolved, I pray. I've seen the emotional toll that it takes, not just on my friend Jeffrey, but the entire family. Why am I speaking? I'm not here because I know every detail of what has occurred. I'm here because I know Jeffrey Helen Billington Love. I know her character. I know her heart. I know the love that she had for Mary Alice, and I know she deserves compassion. She deserves respect, and she deserves honest answers. Why this matters to everyone? None of us knows when someone we love might experience a mental health crisis. This could happen to any family. It could happen when you go home today. You could get a call that this might happen to you. But we all hope that if that day comes, the people that respond in your crisis, hopefully it will be different. What the family requests is accountability, transparency, and independent investigation, and you will hear this over and over: truth and restoration, community accountability. I want people to know that Jeffrey's just not grieving as a mother, standing before microphones, but as a loving mother that I have known for years. And if you've had friends, as mothers here sit today, maybe you've had friends since 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade. I don't just hear Jeffrey's pain, I hear her heart. As a friend of 60+ years, I've had a front row seat to her pain. I've had a front row seat of talking her out of a tub because she's crying. I don't want her to drown. I've had a front row seat on watching hospital visits, sitting at bedsides. I am worried. I am worried of the stress that this has taken on a fragile body already. My closing prayer, and I talk to Jeffrey almost every day, as we have for 60+ years. She tells me, Mary, when I close my eyes, I see it over and over. Maybe this is the wrong prayer today, but I hope that is transferred to each one of you. That when you close your eyes, you see this child being gunned down, because she sees it over and over again.
And you
Our
did
trust is transferred to each one of you. When you close your eyes tonight, I pray that you see that.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Good evening. I'm not here tonight as just a concerned resident. I am here as a close friend of the Love family. I have known Mary Alice's sister, Veteran, since we were 11 years old. So I think we're kind of on our way to the same lengthy relationship. I have been by this family's side for over 4 decades. I'm showing my age. I knew this family before Mary Alice was born. I watched her grow up. I know their hearts, I know their love, and I know the profound hole that has been ripped into their lives. On May 11th, Mary Alice's mother, Ma as I call her, made a call that no parent ever wants to make. She called the mental health crisis hotline, not 911, not because there was a criminal act happening, but because her daughter was experiencing a severe mental health crisis. She called for a lifeline. She called for professionals trained to de-escalate, to protect, and to preserve life. Instead, an 18-year-old veteran patrol sergeant arrived. He failed to de-escalate the situation and fired 4 fatal shots. Mary Alice Love was given a death sentence in her own home and in front of her mother. We are back tonight because 77 days, a grieving family is still waiting for the bare minimum of accountability. At the last meeting, we saw something rare. Several board members broke their customary silence during public comment. You told this community and the family that listening to their pain hurts. You said you were moved and that you were listening. But I am here to tell you that tonight, that empathy without action is just a performance. It is political theater. Protocol dictates that you cannot speak or debate us while we stand at this microphone. Fine. We understand the rules of the podium, but protocol does not stop you from speaking with your actions. The very second this meeting adjourns, you cannot hide behind a microphone policy to excuse your ongoing failure to act. You can speak to us tomorrow by releasing the entire unedited video. You can speak to us by meeting the family's demands. And let's address the primary excuse we keep hearing from this administration, that your hands are tied until the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force finishes its independent investigation. That is a hollow bureaucratic shield.
Yep.
You are conflating 2 entirely different things. The task force is looking for criminal liability. They are determining if a crime was committed under state law. But this board is responsible for administrative accountability, department policy, and community safety. Municipalities and counties across this country routinely terminate officers prior to the conclusion of criminal investigations. When body camera footage and internal records show that department policies were shattered, that de-escalation tactics were completely ignored, and that a citizen's life was needlessly taken, leadership acts. They don't wait for a months-long state's attorney review to protect their community. Choosing to wait is a choice to delay justice. It is an administrative choice, not a legal requirement.
Absolutely.
Furthermore, let's talk about what has been released. On June 17th, the department released a critical incidents briefing, but it wasn't transparency. It was heavily edited, tightly curated, video accompanied by a chief's narration. That is not public information. That is damage control.
Yes.
That is an attempt to control the narrative that before the public can see the unvarnished truth. If the department did nothing wrong, and if the officer acted entirely within policy, then why hide the tape?
Yes.
Release the raw, unedited
Yes.
body camera footage. Let the truth.
Yes.
An 18-year veteran sergeant is currently sitting at home on paid administrative leave, collecting a paycheck, while Mary Alice Love's family is completely broken, left to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. We are not going away. We will continue to pack these chairs, meeting after meeting, month after month, until the family's demands are met. We demand the immediate termination of the officer. We demand a formal public apology We demand the release of all unedited footage, and we demand an independent federal investigation. You have the power to act. Stop waiting, stop hiding. Investigations and show this community what true leadership looks like. Thank you.
Mary Alice Love! Mary Alice Love! Mary Alice Love! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Hello, again. My name is Marcus Curran. Lived in Mundelein for 20 some odd years. Mary Alice Love is my aunt. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a little ill, but I wanted to keep it short to say that May 11th was the worst day of my life. The absolute worst day of my life, without a doubt. And upon arriving to my grandparents' house, amongst the chaos, I noticed a literal wall of officers keeping us from our family. That was the first thing. Then the way we were treated at the hospital, like criminals. Then the way our home was searched, like criminals. The only people who brought violence, chaos, and disarray to the home were wearing badges.
Yep.
How does that make sense to anybody here?
They're dirty.
At every turn, from moment one, the only people, not to mention the collusion after the fact, right? Someone mentioned earlier that you guys have the ability to make policy. You guys are policy makers. That is your job. That is your purpose for being here. That's why this whole building is here. Make policies for the people you represent. Some of those people have the worst days of their lives, and they don't deserve to be met with violence, chaos, and collusion. They deserve to be met with compassion and understanding and care and time and any sort of communication. My aunt never received that. She was murdered.
Yes.
Before anybody spoke a word to her. A single word. Not a hello. Nothing. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable here. It's unacceptable everywhere. So I ask you, no, I demand, because that's why you're here. That's why we call you community leaders. We need you to serve the community. This cannot happen again. Thank you.
No peace! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Hi, my name is Ralph. I'm a resident of Mundelein, and I would like to speak on some things I heard tonight. Mr. McLemore brought up about 10 or so tragic incidents that took place throughout the country, and I would like to say it's more than that, but I'm saying he mentioned about 10, and I would like to say they all ended, all of them had something, a couple things in common. The person was either involved in a crime or something was taking place that was unlawful in the majority of them. Well, and I know this because I also was present, but this case is different. Police was not called because someone was threatening someone had broke the law, nor was the person going after the police. And what I'm trying to say is that this is really going to get terribly bad. And this city is gonna suffer behind this because the only defense that you guys have is that she was simply killed for opening a door. And this is on film. Her feet never went on the threshold or over it. No, and I want to try and be fair because I'm trying to speak from my heart. You gave me permission to hang the ribbons. A week later after I asked, I'm gonna say thank you. You met with the spiritual leaders. I'm gonna say thank you, but I'm gonna be totally honest. That's not enough.
Nope.
That's not enough. And you guys are gonna be forced to get his family justice. Because there's no crime behind. She committed no crime. The only thing being having a mental crisis, the only thing she did was open a door. You don't have to take my word to her home like that. And for doing that, not only was she not shot once, twice, but 4 times in front of her mother. You know, I mean, can you guys imagine that in front of your child being gunned down? And really, I'm not exaggerating, for opening a door, not for coming after someone, not for threatening someone, not for coming towards someone. But like I said, family, I don't even know if I have a right to even ask you this, because my children breathe, and that is tragic to have someone that you love taken from you in such manner. But they're gonna be forced to do right, because the only thing they can say is she was killed for opening a door. That is the bottom line.
We will be here.
That is the bottom line.
We will be here.
For opening a door, she was killed. And it's just truly a shame. That's all I really have to say.
Say our name! Mary Alice Love! Say our name! Mary Alice Love! Say our name! Mary Alice Love! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Good evening. Again, I had not planned to address this board tonight, but I have a question for you. Are you a robot? I don't get it. You have us come here twice a month. I can't help but cry my heart out. And I see you sitting there like you haven't done anything. Do you realize you're just as guilty as the officer who shot my child?
Yes.
You're just as guilty.
Yes.
And I see females on the board, a black one today. But I don't know if you have children or not. Now, I know men and women feel and think differently, but a mother's love would understand when another mother is hurting. You're looking at a woman with a broken heart because you have me come back every other week and hear the nice things that the family say about my daughter, but I knew that already. You have me come back and relive that day, but I do that already. I wake up with those visions. I go to sleep with those visions. And I'm holding you responsible for it because you are heartless human beings. And I have to just ask, are you a robot? Because when I'm asked that question, I always check, I am not a robot. But I don't have the stone faces that you do. And maybe you're making baby steps, but guess what? They're not big enough.
Nope.
They're not big enough.
Nope.
As someone stated earlier, Mary Alice is in her grave. 37 years old. Her life could have just been starting. 37 years old, and she was stolen from us. She didn't die. She didn't just die. Her life was stolen, snuffed out like she was a nobody. And you treat us like we're nobodies. I want you to think about the question that I asked you. You don't have to give me the answer, because I have my own opinion on you. But I ask again, are you a robot?
Are you human?
Mary
Alice Love.
And y'all know y'all been played anytime the human resource person is down here sitting on there. It's to please you black people, because Ms. Jones is not on the board. She's part of human resources. Go ahead, Kevin.
I got cut short. That's Attorney Kevin O'Connor. As we age, and as I age, I think about my kids. I'm sure all of you go home after this and think about your kids. Parents are not meant to bury their children. No. Not especially at the hands of somebody who's supposed to be a professional. When you think about we work and live as we age, we say we live and work, we work for our children, we work for our grandchildren, for those kids that we have. And you learn more about that as we age, and it becomes more important to you. This family's not going to have that opportunity. People want to give excuses, and there's people in the audience, and I know people will groan when people get up and say, well, I back the police, or they have a hard job. And I'm going to invite you to invite every one of those people into this audience, every meeting, every time. Because in the cases I've had, it didn't happen one meeting, two meetings. It happened over the course of 2 years, where the people that came in and said, I back the blue and I'm supporting them, came to realize that you don't always back everybody in every situation, because you can't do that, right? I'm a professional, I'm a lawyer. He's a professional, he's now the police chief. But we're held to a higher standard. And when those people are trained, they're a professional. So everyone comes up with an excuse. We're gonna hear from any and everybody from the defense side that says, you know what, he felt threatened. He felt threatened because it was a black person with a knife. That's his feeling. Well, our law says your personal feelings don't matter. It has to be objectively reasonable. And there's a second part of the law that people don't know, and you can't have what's called a state-created danger. In other words, you can't create the crisis by tackling your mother and then say I'm justified in shooting their child because they were protecting their mother. You created the situation that caused this to happen. There is no objectively reasonable defense to this case. Get that out of your head. It just doesn't exist under the law. That is not there. So, do police officers deserve respect? They do, right? It's a hard job. But when you take that job and you take that oath and you pin a badge on you, you have responsibilities. With great duty comes great responsibility. You can't be the first thing you do is grab your gun. Anybody that served as a police officer, even the village administrator, knows you're taught that the last resort is your gun, unless you're being imminently threatened with death, great bodily harm, imminently. Not one you created, not one that you've started. Your greatest thing is your voice, a voice that was silent that day. What do you need to do? These officers need to be trained appropriately. They need to have the proper training. To say this is the sergeant who knows what to do and is training these other officers, you've got a poison going through this police department that is now there. It's a disease that's there that has to be eradicated, and it has to be done immediately. I haven't heard any steps. I haven't heard any motions. I haven't heard anything going in the village budget, which you can do despite this case, and it doesn't affect this case because it's called subsequent remedial measures under the law. If you take immediate measures to correct a problem because you want to make your citizens better, you want to make your community better, it can't be used against you in a case. There should be budgets that are passed to have better training, to have people come in. I'll volunteer my time, I've done it in other communities, to come in and do it. Maybe I have to do it after the case. I'm probably not your favorite person, but in due time, we'll get along. I promise we'll get along. But we need to do it. You need to pass that budget now. You need to get that training because the guys are still out on the street. The guys that have been infected with these bad teachings are still there. You don't want to have a second case. And I'm going to end, and you cut me off for about 30 seconds, so be patient, because you started with Clyde talking. But here's the last thing. When I first met Jeffry Love and I came into their family, she's shaking when she met me. And I said the most important thing is you better take care of your health. When you're going to have visions of this case, your health is going to suffer. Everything about this case, please take care of yourself. I'll take care of the case. What happens? Unfortunately, what I'm telling her is coming true. Because she's not only just witnessed her daughter be killed, she suffered in the line of fire the threat of her dying amongst bullets flying above her head. Her own case of her being threatened, of being shot, as she's being tackled by somebody, not even understanding what's going on because she's a little hard of hearing. So when the officer gently says, "Hey, don't open that door," she's like, "What? What?" All of a sudden she's being tackled to the ground and hears fires of gunshot going over her head and thinks she's gonna die. Then she feels her own body and she's not shot, with a sigh of relief to look up and seeing her daughter being going to the ground. Don't forget, this is not just a case of Mary Alice Love, which is so important to this family, but we have a second victim. And I hope and pray that her injuries that she's now suffering and that she's suffering heart-wise don't bring a second tragedy, and we all should say a prayer for her.
Mary Alice Love. Mary Alice Love. Mary Alice Love.
And Robin, we know where you live.
Good evening, Mayor Meier and trustees. My name is Amy Frick, and I live just up the road in Grays Lake. But before I get on my data center soapbox, I need to take a moment and just say thank you to Mary Alice Love's family and friends for sharing your words, your time, your energy, your anger, and your sadness with us. I see you, I hear you. Now, back to you guys. First, I want to thank you. I want to commend you for item 8B on tonight's agenda by strengthening Mundelein's ordinances regarding data centers, battery energy storage systems, and mechanical equipment. You are demonstrating thoughtful, proactive leadership. You didn't wait for a crisis before taking action, and your residents should be proud of that. But tonight, I'd like to ask you to take one final step. Please adopt a resolution declaring that hyperscale data centers are not part of Mundelein's vision for its future. Why aren't the stronger ordinances enough? Because ordinances and resolutions accomplish two very different things. Ordinances tell developers what they can do. Resolutions tell residents what you stand for. An ordinance is about regulations. A resolution is about values. One can be amended, the other becomes part of the community's identity. I'm here because I've watched what happens when transparency breaks down and residents become the last to know. Grays Lake has become a lesson for us all. A lesson that regional projects create regional consequences. A lesson that trust, once lost, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. A lesson that no amount of tax revenue can replace confidence in local government. And perhaps most importantly, a lesson that communities should define who they are before someone else tries to define them. One of your very own trustees said this to me this week: "I don't believe a formal resolution is necessary at this time." So I ask respectfully, when is the right time? After a hyperscale data center has already identified Mundelein as its next opportunity? After residents are filling this room asking why no one warned them? Or after a proposal is already on your agenda? If the goal is to protect character and the quality of life of this community, then why wait until you're forced to play defense? Leadership at its strongest, or is at its strongest when it is proactive, not reactive. Over the past several weeks, I visited community after community across Lake County, and what I've discovered is that this issue isn't really about data centers at all. It's about leadership. It's about whether elected officials are willing to say before the pressure comes, we know who we are, we know what matters to our residents, and we are willing to say it out loud. And that doesn't just go for data centers. This is what a resolution does. I respectfully ask you to finish what you started. You've built strong ordinances. Now make an equally strong statement. Lead Lake County. Show other communities they don't have to wait until they're fighting a proposal to define their values. Choose people over profit. Because right now it seems like I'm fighting harder for the quality of life and the character of your village than you are. Thank you. Step up.
Good evening. I'm also here to speak to you tonight about the data center being built in Grays Lake. I come to this meeting as a Mundelein resident of 8 years, a homeowner in Cambridge North, a mother of 3 children with roots in this community. I come to you as a parent, deeply concerned about what a hyperscale data center the size of 300 football fields being built 1 mile from the Mundelein border will mean to our community. I come to you as someone who now has to decide if we list our home for sale, relocate to a new community, remove our children from Fremont school districts, all because of a decision Grays Lake made in a silo, despite massive public opposition in their own town. I could speak for hours about the negative impacts of a data center of this size. The 24/7 air, sound, and noise pollution, the immediate and long-term health risks, the unavoidable increased energy bills, constant threat to our limited water resources, and so many more. The reality is, our laws and regulations have not kept up with the pace of private developments. I appreciate the board for starting to take steps to regulate future developments in Mundelein. That is a very good first step, and I want to acknowledge that. But the T5 development is different. As posted on your website, the village was not part of the original approval process with Grays Lake. What's missing from the Mundelein website is a firm stance on those decisions made without your consideration or support. Your neutrality is not enough when a 400+ acre, practically an Abbott Park, is being built in our backyard. The silence does not feel neutral to the families like myself who will live with the consequences daily. This is no longer Grays Lake's issue. This is Mundelein's issue, and this is Lake County's issue. So tonight, I am asking you to take an important first step in representing your constituents, to join Round Lake Park in publicly going on record, documenting your opposition to the scale and proximity of the T5 data center being built next to Mundelein and its residents. When a project of this size is built in our backyard, we have a duty to speak up, to stand together, and to fight for the future of our community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Morgan Coghill, and I'm a resident of Mundelein. And one of the things we've talked about here is priorities and robots and what it means to be part of a community. Now, I've lived in Mundelein for 10 years, and a little over a year ago, I moved my parents from Pennsylvania to Mundelein because family was my priority. They live at 1205 Ashbrook. They live right down the street from the Love family. And on the night of May 11th, my father went outside because he saw lots of flashing lights and lots of cruisers, and he just basically asked, "Hey, what's going on?" And he was told, I don't know who told him, a man in uniform said, "Someone down the street wants to commit suicide by cop." That was all he said and went back. Suicide by cop. And the next day we found out what actually happened. And instead of getting out in front and explaining what happened, the police department has edited footage, has been silent, but on May 28th, put out a press release about all the wonderful new flock cameras that we have in Mundelein. So it's a question of priorities. Lots more Big Brother and a lot less social work. those priorities are messed up and are unbefitting a community such as Mundelein. We require our leaders to put us first. And if you're gonna have toys for the police department, such as body cameras, they should be on and we should have access to them, as opposed to flock cameras, big brother, big data, and as some of my previous speakers have said, data centers. That's all tied together. It is a question of priorities. I have mine. I moved my parents here. I raised my children here. They go to Fremont schools. What are yours? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lauren Wolk-Williams. I have been a resident since 2020 of Mundelein. I know many members of Mary Alice Love's family have stepped out already. I do not blame them. I have heard them week after week speak about the joy and love she brought their lives while carrying their grief and pain with them. So I do not blame them for leaving. I don't know how you can listen to this mother talk week after week about how her child was taken from her and not have any action. I am here today to state my opposition of the flop automated license plate reader cameras in our village. Additionally, I am incredibly disappointed by the insufficient communication from the village regarding said cameras. When I have asked numerous residents of Mundelein what they know about these ALPR cameras, there is yet to be a single person aware of the cameras at all. To my knowledge, the first communication shared from the village was the weekly village email newsletter sent out on May 29th of this year. The same information was sent in the State of the Village newsletter that all residents receive via USPS. The information from each newsletter colors Flock as a company that will assist police in solving crimes and helping us prevent crimes. However, we know that this is not true. If you ignore all the instances of using for personal gain, stalking, profiling on race, sex, or religion, maybe that could be helpful. The email newsletter features a link to access a portal of statistics and public access of our local flock data. The only unique information in this portal that differs from what was already written in the newsletter is a count of vehicles detected. This count only shows unique license plates because showing millions of license plates read in a 30-day span doesn't look as invasive as the count of 435,000 plates in the portal. The motion to approve the cameras was passed on May 13th, 2024. Installation and activation of 10 cameras happened in September of 2024. Cameras were collecting data for 20 months before the community at large was even aware they were in Mundelein through communication shared this May. For over a year and a half, the only way a resident would know about these cameras is if they had combed through archived board meeting agendas or notes. The video from the May 13th, 2024 village meeting shows former Mayor Lentz presenting a motion to approve all 17 omnibus items, explaining that these items are, quote, presumed to be unanimous. He then prompted any board member to present any additional discussion or arguments of specific items in the omnibus, if they so wished. No board member spoke up. The approval of the flock cameras was one item of the 17, all approved in a single vote. The community did not have an opportunity to learn, raise questions or concerns about mass surveillance. I, like many other people here and people who have spoken, want to feel that our Board of Elected Officials has a firm grasp on their responsibility to their constituents. It is more than evident that the trust we have put into you as those in power has been severely eroded. The communication from the village has been nothing more than polished marketing talking points that can be found on Flock's website, some even taken verbatim. Flock's website states, trust isn't automatic, it's built into the product. Trust cannot be manufactured, especially not by a company that continues to violate Illinois law. I want to be very clear here. Many people have said that last meeting, Trustee Schwenk made a point to state that trustees are not permitted to speak during public comment. That's been brought up several times. Mayor Meier reiterated that at the start of the meeting. Again, when we elected you, we trusted you to do what was right for Mundelein. It is our job to bring our concerns to you. Concerns about our village, our community, our welfare, our safety. Your job is to actively listen to us, conduct further research, and decide how you will proceed using the power you have as a village official to foster positive change in Mundelein. Allowing these cameras in our community is a mistake. Do what is right for our village, for your neighbors, and cancel the contract with Flock immediately. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dustin Williams, Mundelein resident. I'm also here to voice my opposition to Flock mass surveillance cameras. And then I saw what was on the motion agenda today, and I had to change my topic a little bit. I want to go back and give you a clear understanding of the timeline of these cameras, and you just heard some of those dates. I'm going to reiterate them for you. The cameras were voted on and approved May 13th of 2024. Cameras went up in September of 2024. Fast forward to May 19th of this year, and I submitted 6 FOIA requests about various topics surrounding these Flock cameras in Mundelein. The Mundelein PD immediately denied my request until I called them and verified I was an actual person. Then MPD requested an extension. 2 days after the extension request, the advertisement puff piece about these cameras appears in the e-newsletter. So to recap, these cameras were in active service for almost 2 years and not a single piece of communication with the town about them. I file FOIA requests, and by sheer coincidence, 2 days later, the village decides now's the perfect time to tell the people of Mundelein about these cameras. So 11 days after my FOIA request, I get some of the data back, except for the main one, which is the audit data and searches performed by MPD and the vast network that we share our cameras with. MPD denied this FOIA request, citing an Illinois law preventing sharing of personal ALPR data, despite me explicitly saying to redact any personal IDs in these FOIA requests. So I filed an appeal to the Illinois Attorney General's office to cite the case from last year where this same information was provided to another town when their PD denied it. And if you didn't know, the Illinois Attorney General publishes all the cases that it had to step in to help it. So now everyone in Illinois can see that Mundelein was denying FOIA requests, and this reflects on us very poorly. So as expected, the Attorney General makes the MPD give me the audit data, except the MPD can't provide a year's worth of audits because that's too burdensome for them. So they only give me 2 months of data, but they provide it in a PDF of an Excel file, which makes it impossible to align rows and columns. So back to the Illinois Attorney General, who convinces the MPD to give me the files in Excel format. Which brings me to the very convenient timing of the motion to amend the FOIA request policy that's being voted on today. I hope you all read what's being proposed in there. On top of all this effort I had to go through to get this ALPR data, now you want to charge private citizens monetary fees to request this data. The 4 files provided to me under this pricing plan would cost me $100. These files were 8 megabytes in total. In case that doesn't mean anything to you, that's less than half the size of a single picture you've taken with your phone. $100. This is an attempt to prevent the public from their right to FOIA data, hidden behind the pretense of saving the town money and effort. If you're all so concerned about the money spent on FOIA requests, how about you remove all these mass surveillance cameras and save Mundelein and its taxpayers the $42,000 a year you're spending on them? And just by coincidence, removing the cameras will also remove the burden of redacting these files when they're requested. Do not vote yes on this motion to the amendment to the FOIA policy. Remove the fees for private citizens. Keep the redundancy cleanup and the fees for commercial requests, but don't deny the people of Mundelein, citizens in this American democracy, the right to government information. Mayor Meier, you ran on a transparency campaign and have it all over your social media. None of the handling of these cameras has been in the name of transparency. Every action of this board has been reactive instead of proactive. You all are on this elected board to make Mundelein a better place and be a voice for its people. Do not wait to make the people of Mundelein force you to do the right thing. You should do it because it is right. Please do your job, vote no on this FOIA amendment as is, and remove these cameras.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us here today. I want to start off by saying sorry to everyone who lost their loved ones. Very sorry about that. I do want to speak on the subject, Mayor, and this data center. We don't need it. We don't want it. I don't want it in my house. I don't want it near my family, near my kids. I've seen what they do. I worked around data centers. They create construction, hassle, traffic, everywhere. We don't want it. I don't want it. The noise, yes. I work with technology myself. I install mics. I install displays. That's about as much as I know, but that is not good. They create so much bad pollution, air quality, the water. We need the water. Water is expensive as it is. Everything's going up. Do we need more bills to go up? I don't know about you guys, but Shit, I'm barely making it sometimes, but I'm here. I'm here fighting. I'm here for my family. I'm not moving my family. I bought my house 4 years ago and I love it. I love this town. My family lives here. I want to keep everybody here. But you guys building is gonna just drive everybody out of here. I will leave. It sucks to leave. It sucks to pack up my family and move. I've done it 2 times. Now I don't want to do it a 3rd time. This is horrible. And I hope you guys do listen to me. Take this into your considerations, all of you. We don't need it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda. I wanted to make some comments after listening to everybody. At the beginning, you said the village will not litigate this in a public forum, and the police department already has with their statement that they released in May, and with the body cam footage that they released with editorial footage, editorial statements. The police department has already litigated this in the public forum, and that's inappropriate. And I believe that is why the family is asking for an apology that is public. I do not know the Love family, and I do not know what it is like to be a person of color in our country, but I know that Black Lives Matter. But I am here to speak not just as a community member, but as a mental health professional in the community. I have been face to face with numerous people in mental health crises. I have worked in a hospital, and when someone is of immediate danger to themselves or others, de-escalation is of utmost importance. Even when individuals needed to be restrained, unarmed individuals, such as myself, were able to do so without physical injury to the patient or the hospital staff. But when your only tool is a hammer, you see everyone as a nail. A one-time 40-hour crisis intervention training is not enough. I work in private practice now, and I have heard someone in a deep depression ponder utilizing the Mundelein Police Department to aid in their death because there is apparently no de-escalation techniques used by the department, and clearly there is no accountability. Between 2015 and 2020, 1/4 of all fatal police shootings involved someone with a mental illness. The Mundelein police knew what type of situation they were walking into. Mrs. Love specifically asked the officers what their plan was, and they indicated they did not have one. Then their behavior escalated the situation. All of that is completely inappropriate. Police can't be trusted to protect the community, and they should not be trusted with stalking software like Flock that is used to bypass the 4th Amendment. Please also take that into account. Black Lives Matter, Mary Alice Love mattered. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sheryl and I also live in Mundelein, Illinois for the past 21 years now. And my husband and I moved into this community. I grew up in Libertyville, love the community. We saw a lot of potential with this town. And we live in Fields of Ambria. So we love our yard. My husband we love going out in the backyard. We talk about the quality of life around here. And first, what happened to us, we experienced the whole Saya debacle is what I call it, because nobody knew about it. It just all of a sudden, it's a done deal. We went to Gray's Lake, tried to appease, them. We're trying to figure out how did they get that land anyway when that farm was part of Mundelein. Long story short, it happened. It is what it is. Okay. So then we just recently, all of a sudden, we're having a data center put in. And you may not think that this data center impacts Mundelein. It's not Mundelein, it's Gray's Lake. There's nothing we can do. BS. Sorry, I'm not swearing. I'm just saying BS. You can do something, and you should do something. We shouldn't be having a data center over there. It impacts all the people, whether it's Fields of Ambria, Cambridge North. Those poor people in that neighborhood are getting it from all sides. It's wrong. What has been done is wrong. And I don't know why that you guys aren't going over there and having a conversation, because Grays Lake continues to be a bad neighbor to Mundelein. It's like they shove it down our throat. I don't know what their issue is with our town, with this village, but they have an issue with Mundelein, and they just keep putting anything that they don't want that's ugly but will give them money, they shove it on this side close to Mundelein, and they know Mundelein's not going to do anything about it. So I really think that you guys need to have a conversation with that village. I mean, we expect that. You guys are here to protect us, the residents. And so you should be protecting us from Grays Lake and that T5 data center. And I don't know what more to say, but if you've listened to anything tonight, whether it's with the Love family or not, we're all talking about having a quality of life. We're looking for you people to protect us and our quality of life, represent us, and to be transparent with your communication. We need more transparency, and we're not getting it until the 11th hour, or the 23rd hour, whatever you want to call it. But we're not hearing about it until it's too late to do anything about it. And I again, call BS. So we need to do more. And I mean, definitely what you have on there about the zoning, but I hope to God that zoning is helping us with not just data centers, but whatever the next data center like thing is. Hopefully it won't be a nuclear reactor in our backyards, but that's how it feels. We never hear anything from anybody. And again, you guys may say, well, we can't do that. We can't tell people how to sell or do what they want to do with their land. Again, BS. Yes, you can. You can do things. You can, whether it's through regulations or ordinances. I don't speak all the legalese, but you can do something. Now is the time to think differently. We have to address all these things with the data center. You guys can start thinking differently about how do we do this? How do we approach it within our framework? So anyway, that's really all I have to say.
Thank you for speaking, because you reminded me of something. My name is Erin. I'm a resident of Mundelein. Again, I wasn't going to speak. I said I was not going to speak. But here I am. I wanted to talk about transparency. I come up here and I talk about it pretty much every time. Whether it be here, the Village of Grays Lake, Brown Lake Park, Avon Township, Warren Township, wherever. We all need more transparency. We need more transparency within this village. This is where I live. T5 data center is likely going to be built over on Cornerstone on the edge of Mundelein. We are trying to fight this tooth and nail, and we need the Village of Mundelein to stand up for us. We have asked countless times. I have sent emails, I have had correspondence. Amy Frick has sent emails. I can't tell you how many times we have asked for more transparency. This is your chance tonight to please vote in our favor to push an ordinance through that prohibits data centers further in our village lines. There are now 3 data centers threatening us at the village line of Grays Lake and Mundelein. Yep. So what we can do, okay, is there is a Lake County Data Center Educational Forum on August 5th at CLC here in Grays Lake, at the Grays Lake campus. The Lake County Illinois Data Center Opposition Coalition is putting on this event, and this is an event to educate us on the negative effects of data centers, especially T5 hyperscale AI data centers that are absolutely not good for our environment, our air quality, our noise. There's going to be an insane amount of noise pollution, okay? I'm actually getting a little flustered because I cannot believe how many people here came tonight to mention transparency, and I had to come up here and mention it again, because we all need transparency. Yep. In addition to the August 5th event, I wanted to mention that outside here, there's a short billboard. If you click on if you do the bottom QR code, okay, you have to do the bottom one, but you can sign up for events, news, emergency, like text messages, emails. I signed up for that 3 years ago. I have not gotten any messages. I just confirmed that I am signed up and I have received 0 messages in at least over a year. So I reconfirmed myself tonight, and I would implore everyone who lives in the Village of Mundelein to please sign up, because you can also add to that the planning and zoning board meetings so that nothing like this falls through the cracks again in this village. We need more transparency. Please, everyone, go ahead and do that. I'm sorry for my lack of professionalism tonight, but, and I just have to say that the Maurice Love family, I don't even have words for you guys, because I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Christina Escobar. I've lived in Mundelein my whole life. I graduated from Mundelein High School. I've known the Love family more than half of my life. Jayla is my best friend. I've been welcomed into Veterans Home. I've tried on Jeffrey's deviled eggs. My car has been jump-started by Vuyani in his driveway, and I can go on. I have a lot of stories with this family. I have a lot of stories of Jayla telling me about this family. And it hurts, you know, to see my best friend this way. And you know, we're juniors in college right now. We're figuring out life. And when I got the call that this happened, I was confused. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to say. I've never dealt with something like this before, you know? And I don't think anybody should, especially since we're only 20 years old. And having to deal with this grief, secondhand grief that I've seen my best friend go through, is difficult. Because how do you comfort somebody who just lost somebody in such a tragic way? And me and Jayla, we go back. I mean, in middle school, we joined a support group for losing a parent. We both lost a parent when we were really young. So we've seen each other in those elements. We've seen each other all kinds of ways. But this way hurts the most. Because it's not just her that's hurting, it's the whole family. It's Aunt Jeffrey, it's Bertram, Vuyani, Marcus, it's everybody. Everybody's hurting. And I hope you guys understand that. I hope you guys can see that in your heart and see where I'm coming from and just try to feel it, you know? Because that's the biggest thing that you can do. You can feel it. You can go through these emotions with them. And I beg all of you to just take a moment tonight, reflect, which I do every night. I reflect on everything I've done today, and I look back on what I did. And if I'm not proud with something, I think about it, I talk about it, I dream about it. You know, that's something that everybody should do. Everybody should look on what they were doing today, what they did yesterday, what they did the past month, and just reflect and feel. I've been here once before. I didn't speak, but my sister did. And it's just disheartening having to go through this time and time again. Watching all of you guys look at me in my face. I can't imagine how they've been feeling every time they've come up here with these blank stares. I haven't felt no emotion from any of you. I don't feel any empathy. Everybody's just looking at me like if I was posted on the wall. So I really beg you guys to think about this, understand this, feel this, and think about this family every night until they receive the justice they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Public commentary is closed for tonight. Sorry, turn that off accidentally. Public commentary is closed for tonight.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging twisted mouth.